Welcome into the Lounge, presented by DraftKings. I'm Ryan Mink here with Garrett Downing, and we are thrilled to sit down with Ravens legend Michael Oher, a key part of the Super Bowl winning team back in 2012 and doing big things still with his foundation and across the board. And he will be our legend of the game for this matchup against the New York Jets. First time back seeing a Ravens game, just kind of what are your emotions coming into this one?
Man, I'm fired up about it. Obviously, the Ravens our favorite team in the house, and we watch them every Sunday, and just to be back, a lot of great memories, life-changing memories, being drafted to Baltimore, and they're doing great things now. About a month ago, I wrote in my notes, I didn't know I was coming to this game, but I wrote in my notes that the Ravens will go over 500 against the Jets.
Wow, okay.
So I'll show you afterwards. But, just to know you got an organization, the way that they do things, and from top to bottom, it's always been great. And, that's why they're in the running year in and year out. So, it's just a great organization to be a part of.
I got to hear more about this notes situation. So you're watching Ravens games, and they're sitting there at 1-5, and you wrote down either whatever journal or in your phone that the Ravens are going to go over 500 against the Jets. Like, what? Take me through this here.
Well, I mean, when I think of something, I take out my notes and I write things down. Whether I do motivational speaking, I go talk different places in schools, and I just like to write things down just to keep track of all the great things that I come up with. And I do stuff with sports like that all the time, but I wrote that down that day in the middle of the slump. And but when you got an organization like the Ravens, players like the Ravens, coach, you see how the games go about and the turnouts, and you look at the schedule, you see what's going on, and that wasn't hard for me to do, to be honest with you.
You spoke it, you manifested it. You spoke it
I've
into
been on
existence.
a heater with my predictions recently.
Sounds like Mike has too.
We might have a new guy here.
I mean, it's just a lot of guessing. I mean, it's kind of like gambling. You lose a lot more than you.
You're like me. If you throw out a million predictions, you're going to hit on one.
No doubt about it. You have to throw them out there.
Can you pull out those notes and write the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl this year? Let's get that done.
That's the next. That's the next step. But I mean, it's no reason why they shouldn't be close to getting that done. I want to talk about it right now. Yeah. Super Bowl now, that's a little bit bigger than one.
Getting over
500. But it's like I always say. I was just thinking about that, and looking in. I like to say looking in the mirror, and they have everything that they need to get the job done and win a Super Bowl. But obviously we got a long way to go. But they definitely have the guys for the job.
Well, you know what it takes. Being a Super Bowl winner yourself. And can you take me back to that time and that run? And specifically, the offensive line was really a catalyst in that whole turnaround and getting hot in the playoffs, and the work y'all did protecting Joe allowed him to thrive the way he did. 11 touchdowns, no picks in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
And so take me back to that run and you as an offensive line kind of coming together during that time.
It was guys. We had Brian McKinney. He had to get healthy on the offensive line. I was playing left tackle that season, and once he got healthy, he was able to come back in. KO going to guard, Matt Burke at center, Marshall, me at right tackle. It was just, we had a great group where, everybody just loved being, in that room and just playing football. And, for us, we always talked about, the 5 best guys being on the field, on the football field. And we, getting healthy is a key part. To any group, especially a football team, and that's what's going on now. The Ravens are getting healthy right now, but we just came together, man. I can remember just when we made the changes and stuff, and I was in the facility here just watching film, and I think we opened up with the Colts, Robert Mathis and those guys, and and then we went up to Denver, and I remember just watching tape on Von Miller that year. If you go back and watch film on Von Miller, what he was doing, and we was watching film and just cut the film off on, I think they were playing the Panthers, and he was just he was
crushing them.
Scared me to death.
I don't want to see this anymore.
I got to get out of here. And I just made my mind up, man. We're just gonna sell out, man, moving forward here on out, and we were just able to come together. We had a veteran center and Matt Burke, and being on the road was me and Matt. We still talk about the silent count, silent count. Until this day, text them a couple of weeks ago because guys, these DNs now they're jumping. They got these motorcycle stands now. They're 1,000 miles off the ball, and I just text Matt Burke, and we had breakfast, lunch, dinner, different things like that on the road, and he'd always ask me what I wanted the count to be on because he respected the fact that. The tackles had the toughest job.
Yeah, you got to deal with those guys flying off that line of scrimmage.
No doubt. So, and I think we always get so many guys jumping off sides with our snap count. And Matt, he just texts me back, man, we can make a lot of money going to sell that stuff because these tackles needed in these DNs and guys like Von Miller at the time. Miles, I don't want to talk about guys currently, but. Graves playing them. But, you need those. All of that helps the offensive line. It helps the offense. Everybody has to be syncing in touch, to go get the job done, especially on the road and on the offense in general. Everybody has to be one.
Can you take me inside the Mile High Miracle? Because I'm replaying this and I could still – picture the play in my mind's eye, and Joe's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he's just trying to find space to step up and launch that sucker. And I want to say that you got a piece of somebody real late.
That
was Vaughn, wasn't it, or Elvis?
No, that was Vaughn. Might have been Marshall. He might have got. I was on. I can remember. I see a clip all the time.
Yeah,
but somebody. I don't know who it was. Just nicked the guy.
Yep.
And Joe was able to get out of there and throw it and 60 yards, 70 yards, whatever it was to Jacoby. And man, I was, it was an amazing play. Just seeing it and finishing that, and in that game, it was a crazy game, and it was back and forth, and me and Marshall, I can remember over here, his beard froze, and man, we were just sitting back and we were in disbelief, just knowing that it was coming down to be a classic, and just being a part of that, and we were so exhausted after the game. Not to disrespect anybody, but we knew we'd just go through the Patriots and get to the Super Bowl because, that game against Denver up there, it was, that was gladiator type stuff, and it was an amazing thing to be a part of, and it was a tough, hard-fought battle, and anything else after that was going to be pretty easy.
Yeah,
I got to get your take on this. Is it crazy to turn on football on Sundays and see Joe Flacco in a Browns uniform, Joe Flacco in a Bengals uniform? He's still playing. Obviously, you guys won a Super Bowl together, but is that crazy for you to see that?
In today and age, with the way sports medicine is, exercise, science, nutrition, and everything, he's a quarterback as well. And Joe, man, he always had that it factor as far as talent, arm strength, being cerebral, having a knowledge of the game, and just not letting anything bother him. And I think, especially now, I think that's a plus with the mind because football, believe it or not, you have to be intelligent and smart. I'm not saying these guys aren't smart anymore right now, but he's always had those things. And when you have the stature that he has, the size, and quarterbacks they're hard to find, and you don't have a lot of time like you used to get quarterbacks up to speed, and I think a lot of that has helped him stay ahead of the curve with the younger quarterbacks. So, no, I enjoy watching him. I enjoy seeing him. He's the toughest guy I knew. I mean, you get him hit sometimes, and you see these quarterbacks now, they're out, like they're about to die. I'm like, man, that's a part of having confidence, giving your offense confidence, your O-line confidence. If you're getting up like you're about to die all the time and you get hit, you're like, Jesus, I'm scared. This guy, I mean,
right.
I need you to die in peace, just, just don't let me see it, because I'm like, man, you just get him hit a couple times and he just, man, don't worry about it. Just, and that gave me the confidence to keep battling for you, so, I've always loved him for that.
That's awesome.
That's a good point. Lamar's kind of that way too. He doesn't
flop around
or
do
make
all that
anything
stuff.
big about that, but
No,
it's good. It's a good perspective.
That's a very good point. You can't, that let your line know you're with them.
Yep.
Because if you're doing all that stuff and doing that, you're talking about me behind closed doors.
Exactly. Your job is to protect them, and they ain't looking good.
You don't want to see them on the ground rolling around when you turn around.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Can you talk about when the Ravens drafted you? They traded up to come get you. They really wanted you,
Yep.
And you come in here and you became a starter like that. I mean, it was a high bar and the expectations and all that. Can you talk about, you still, I feel the loyalty that you have, for this organization, for coming and getting you and drafting you, what that experience is like and the feelings that it still gives you?
Well, it changed my life. I was a kid. I had nothing, even up until that point. And a lot of teams didn't believe in me because, obviously the Blindside book came out while I was in college. And, in it had that I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't learn. So, and through that process, a lot of the teams questioned. In the NFL, I understand it looking back. I mean, this is a big business. You're investing a lot of money in kids and these young people. And, the things that they had on Michael or Big Mike, man, I wouldn't have drafted him. Because I'm a lot of people don't know me, but, I love football. I was in love with football.
Right.
And it took a lot of pride in being smart at it. From the time I started watching the Cowboys when I was 10 years old, and took a ton of pride in being smart at it. And I don't like players who can't get it the first time.
Right.
Me coaching now and kids and being around NFL guys, college guys, I mean, that's important. So a lot of teams, they backed off from me and they just didn't get to know me. They didn't get to know me at all. And the Ravens, they were the only team that sat down with me. I was here it felt like a couple days. I talked to everybody in this building, every single person in this building. They got to know me, who I was, got to know my personality. And they understood that I loved football. I knew football. I wasn't this dumb guy that everybody thought I was. So, Ozzie sitting me in the office. I can remember him, in the South, you got to get to know people. I'm not going to open up to you if I don't know you.
Right.
And Ozzie, he's one of us. I'm trying to play shy. He's cut that out with me. Get your look. I get to laugh and we get to talk and just have a good time. And,
Ozzie can bring it out of you.
Yeah,
you see the real person.
No doubt. So that's what they did when I was coming out, and nobody else did that. And that's why nobody else did that. I would go on visits and come by and all that. Nobody got to know who I was. The Ravens was the only team that did that for me. And that's, to be honest with you, I think the only reason I was drafted in the first round.
Wow.
Because they got to know who I was. And that's why I love the Ravens till this day. And, so it gave me the chance that I needed.
Yeah. That's really cool. Did you get the sense at that time that the perception of you, like people just took it from the book, the movie, the Hollywood version of you, and that they didn't really have any sort of perspective on who this guy is? They're like, all right, well, we've made our mind up on who this guy is based on what I've read or what I've seen. and that was enough for teams?
Most definitely. And I understand. I just wish. And one of my biggest regrets is I was so focused on the NFL. I didn't read the Blindside book. I regret that, not reading that in college. That's one of my biggest regrets, and that's why I always tell people you got to get to know people. You got to re-get to know people, and not take somebody's word for it or something that you seen or heard. So just watching a football life. I've seen all the football lives in that. I was watching Jimmy Johnson's A Football Life, and at 15 minutes and 53 seconds on the YouTube, Bill Belichick, and they were on a boat, and he said one thing Jimmy Johnson told him was not to draft a dumb player. And I can remember the Patriots, they had a scout at the Senior Bowl, big guy, about 450 pounds, and I remember him grilling me on just all kind of stuff about education stuff and all that. And the Patriots actually had the pick that the Ravens traded.
Right.
Things like that sit with me and make it, things like that. So
Interesting.
You have to get to know people like the Ravens. They do their due diligence. Well, they used to do. They're still in the running every year for Super Bowl, so they're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But you have to sit down and do the work and put the time in, and that's what the Ravens. That's what they always done was and we always had guys who loved football, was into football when I was here, and we took it serious, and a lot of the guys had the same personalities. We connected, we hung out, and still got group text message you can call and have the same conversations, and that's why every year I think they're in consideration for a Super Bowl year in and year out. So
Yeah.
Did you leave here feeling like, oh, they're asking different questions, like Ozzie is getting to know me on a level different than I've experienced at other teams? Like, did you come out of that visit here feeling like this is where I'm going to go? And you never can predict the draft, of course, but this is a different conversation here than I'm having elsewhere.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Sitting in there with Eric DeCosta and those guys, man, and it was just my personality. You could see all my personality. It was out, and they showed it. But I'm thinking I'm the best tackle in the draft at the time, so I think they was in the high 20s. I'm like, I ain't getting to
You ain't gonna get me.
I don't think I'm gonna be drafted here, but
Right.
I didn't know the other stuff at the time. So
Right.
Teams take you off their board and stuff like that because, like I said,
Did you get reports that teams actually took you off the board?
That's what I've heard.
Wow.
Like I said,
Their loss. That was a mistake.
That's it. But you like I said, man, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
right.
You have to. This is a very tough business, and you have to have guys in there that are, in it for football. And man, that's important. And obviously, the Ravens, they, believed in me enough, and through Chad Alexander text me. He couple months, it was probably a year or so ago now, but
former Ravens front office executive, scout.
And,
Yep.
He was one of the guys who vouched for me.
Yeah.
Big time, and I always, think about it, text him every now and then and stuff like that. But, I don't want to say he's from Memphis, but he has some kind of Memphis ties, and he kind of knew who I was as a person as well. So, it's just, the due diligence and the resources that you have to put into being a great organization.
I remember you kind of grappling with all of this back during your playing days when you were here. And I remember sitting down with you during the Super Bowl and actually having the week leading up to it and having a good conversation about this. And it was a hard thing. From what I remember, it was a hard thing for you to kind of deal with, that you were the celebrity out there to so many people who were reading the book, watching the movie, and you were this celebrity, but you were like, that ain't me,
right?
You know? And like, I always felt like that was a kind of a weight on your shoulders to a degree, because you were thankful for some of what that did for you in your life, but like, it ain't good to read or watch something and you're like, they got it wrong. And I wrote a story called The Real Michael Oher. I'll never forget this. The Real Michael Oher was the headline. That story blew up.
Did it?
Like, people loved that story because they loved getting to know, like, this was fake.
Yeah.
This was not Mike.
Awesome.
And Mike is a smart
Pretty
dude.
sure
and
I
like,
read it.
yeah. And like, you know, you're a smart dude who loved football, and like, you didn't have, nobody else made your life for you.
Yeah.
You made your life. And so can you talk about what it took for you mentally and emotionally to get past that?
I've never got past it, to be honest with you, because I had the ability mentally and physically to be in Ken. That was my goal coming into the NFL, and the best part of my life was from April to November, my rookie year, and I was having a heck of a year. And, you know, the movie came out after that. And, you know, I started to be this bad football player all of a sudden. Not because I was on the field, but because I became a target. You know, if I did something wrong, you know, social media was just coming out, or media putting things in the paper and all that. So now, you know, the fans got this totally different view of who this football player is.
Right.
And, you know, I became, you know, that's, you know, one of the reasons why it's my first game back in Baltimore, because, you know, the fans, they were kind of hard on me, you know. They would call up to the facility, bad, you know, letters and just social media. Still to this day, I get negative things on social media. And it's not because of me being, you know, this bad football player. It's because something else that I had nothing to do with.
Right.
And, you know, I became, you know, the love kind of left me, and I was just doing it.
Right. Interesting.
Just playing football instead of, you know, just being all out. And, you know, still something that I deal with, because football is something that I, you know, really care about, you know. So, you know, when something that you had no control over coming derails that,
Right.
you know, that upsets me a little bit. But, you know, what I always said was it still changed a lot of people's lives, and it inspired a lot of people to play football, to enjoy offensive line. Still see kids say they wear 74 because of me. So,
That's
but
awesome.
that piece, it's not because I'm, you know, I've seen some being ungrateful, all that kind of stuff. You know, when something that's very important to you and you believe in, and, you know, something that you know got you from being homeless at 3 years old, and I was, you know, homeless up until really I got to college, and I lived with at a different home freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school. And I felt that I was going to be stable for the next 3-4 years in college. And when something like that gets taken away from you, your hard work, you become an All-American in high school. I mean, your senior year, while you're sleeping on the floor. When that stuff gets taken away from you, I'm going to get upset.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's something that, you know, I'm doing better with, but that's a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifices that, you know, I turned down from doing the total opposite from every kid I grew up around, and turning away from the streets, and when I could have easily given up. So, you know, those are things that, that runs deep.
Yeah.
But, getting moving on. I got a great thing going, and, so, it's all good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How much in that time was football? It's interesting to hear you talk about it, because in some ways football is like a safe haven, and that's like, you love the game. And I started here in 2011, and that was one of the things I remember in meeting you, and of course knowing the story and all this stuff, and then meeting you, I was like, man, this guy loves football. Like, he's a hard worker. He practices every day. Like, he's tough. Like, and those were things that I remember right away from back in that time when I started here. And I think a lot of guys talk about how being between those white lines is where I felt most at home, and there's all this noise, whatever their situation is. And that would allow them to be kind of in their safe space. But in hearing you talk about it, it almost, to some degree, kind of felt like there was, I don't know if a burden is the right word, as you try to play, knowing everything that was going on. How was it a safe space? Like, how did you look at the football aspect when you were in the midst of that early in your career?
No, my safe space was in the building and in the locker room. That's when I was my most comfortable being around the guys inside the locker room. They know who I am as a person. Once, like I said, after November, my rookie year, going outside of these buildings, I really didn't enjoy it, to be honest with you. But being in the locker room, knowing the guys who know you and know what kind of player person you are, the love that you have. But, when you're playing safe and not to do stuff and not to have a penalty and not playing as hard as you can, being in the white lines on game day, that means nothing. I still got the job done adequately, but not up to the ability that I think I could have. So but the locker room and your coaches and things like that, that's what I enjoyed the most.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I hope like fans listen to this and realize the impact that they can have on players. Like, this game is so physical, but it is also mental.
Yeah.
And like, players hear this stuff and like it can resonate with them. So honestly, I just like hope that fans kind of take note of that.
Yeah. It means, because I was a guy, I'm coming from poverty, and I love the fans, and I was playing for the fans, because I knew I felt like I've always been down to earth and just one of the people, man. I'm for the people.
Yeah.
And you get people dogging you and talking about you all the time, and you seeing that, it's not you're playing great, and you look at something and it's the total opposite. I'm like, man, what? And that's just it drives me crazy. But at the end of the day, people are going to say you're getting paid a lot of money to play football and all that. But this is a kid's game, and these football players, man, we are human at the end of the day too. So, and our job is to win, but we want to be able to get out there and touch the people, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, entertainment, and we want to make everybody happy.
It doesn't matter how much money you're making. You want to feel valued, respected, and like you're doing a good job.
That's
when fans are saying that, it doesn't matter. And
Exactly right.
I'm really glad to hear that you're in a great space, in a better place now, Mike. And I do want to let fans know, they always want to know about former players. What are you up to now? Like, so tell listeners and viewers, what are you doing now? I know you have a big family.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about how you're doing.
Yeah. Live in Nashville with my family, volunteer, coach my son at Lipscomb Academy, the offensive line, D-line. I also have a foundation. I partner with different schools. Lipscomb is one of my partner schools, and kids, disadvantaged youth, give them an opportunity, pay scholarship and tuition for mentorship, so the kids can, a kid like myself who does not play sports, because I graduated from a Briarcrest Christian school, private school, But the only reason I went to that school was because I was a heck of an athlete, and that's just the bottom line on it. And I want to put kids who don't have those opportunities, because I love football, but I always had plan Bs. I always, if I didn't make it, I can remember my senior year college. I was all of this stuff, but I was still thinking of who I was going to go to if I didn't get drafted, or if I didn't make it into the NFL, who I was going to, ask for a job, and who, things like that. And I always had those type of things in my mind from a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid. I just wanted to have 4 and 5 jobs.
Right.
Football, basketball, that wasn't going to be the end all for me. So it worked out, and I'm glad it did. I'm glad it did. But for a lot of kids, it's not. So, and a lot of kids aren't going to have the athletic ability to be afforded these things. So my thing is to help as many kids as I can possibly can to be afforded a education, and being around people that they can, like-minded individuals that are motivated and want to be great. I was actually in talks with McDonough School here in St. Paul, here in Nashville, about bringing an Oher scholarship here
nice.
to Baltimore. So, that's I eventually want to have it all over. Because a lot of people talk about education, but they don't really mean it. Right. And education, that's something that's tangible. You can't take that away from you. If you have that, man, you can do. You shouldn't be poor. You shouldn't be living in poverty. You can do so many different things. So, I think that's the winning piece. If we want to change as a society, if we want to, see things change in the communities around the country. So, that's that's something that I'm doing. I'm enjoying it all. Enjoying life, man. My thing was when I started this journey was to work so hard where I can be in this position that I am right now.
Yeah.
So that was always my goal. But it started. Glad I'm back here now because it started with the Ravens. So. Without them believing in me, and I just owe them a ton. So, because without them, I don't know what would.
I think you would have made it, but we helped. We're glad to have helped.
I don't know, man. I think I was off the board on 31 other teams, man. The Ravens was my only hope. I'm telling you, geez. I'm telling Big Mike, he must have been a hell of a football player, man. Learning football like he did, and can't read and write, and
right.
He must have been dominating out there.
Yeah.
The Ravens said, "Man, don't worry about that. we can fix it."
It is so funny,
but it's all good.
It's awesome. Well, hey, man,
is it just quickly before we wrap? The games this weekend, you're back in this building as we have this great conversation. Like, man, it's awesome to hear what these 4 walls kind of meant to you, in your career, in this place and this people. Is it strange? Is it emotional? Is it what do you feel as you're back here in this building, and then knowing that you're going to be back in the stadium on Sunday?
Man, it really felt like the day I got drafted, to be honest with you. Obviously I wanted to, be here a lot longer, and all that, and it didn't work out that way. But man, you just feel like a kid. Because like I said, it was my safe haven for 5 seasons here, and I knew I had the support that I needed, and I just enjoyed coming in here. That's why I was the first one in all the time. First one in every day and the last one out, because I enjoyed it I enjoyed it that much, man. And I just be out there practicing, and like you said, I never missed a practice here on time, and I just used to have tears of joy all the time just practicing. I just enjoyed it all, because I knew how hard it was to get to the NFL, how hard it is to stay in the NFL, and how important it is, just to, how special it is to be a part of something like that. You see the guys that has came through here, and I was a fan of every player, not just the star players. I just enjoyed being around everybody. So, just being, like you said, these four walls and being around these people who know, that you hear, when I see guys and, guys, I played left tackle, right tackle, left tackle, they're really making sacrifices. But the Ravens, they brought you here because they believe in the things that you can do. So when guys get up, say, man, I can be doing this or I can be doing that. It never bothered me because they believe that I can do it, and I believed that I could do it, and I did it like it was normal, but it's really not normal to do what I did, going from position to position.
Yeah,
and I see guys
back and forth. Yep.
I see guys try to do it, and it's not normal.
No.
And it's hard to do. A couple guys can, but it's rare because I pay attention to all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And they believe in you, and you're here because you're just a guy for the job. So.
Awesome. Well, great to see you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
It's really a pleasure, man.
Yeah, look forward to seeing
guys.
you get that recognition on Sunday at the game. Should be awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Welcome back to the lounge. We are coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We want to mention our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Well, huge thanks to Michael Oher. Really admire his openness and willingness to share and talk about his career, his life. It's awesome to see how well he's doing down there in Nashville with his foundation work, his family, he's coaching football. It's great to see him doing well, and I'm appreciative and commend him for just being as open and honest as he was. Yeah, I think that you could see the impact that all that pressure, that outside pressure, had on him and his career, and just as a person, still carrying that with him to this day, like you said. And so to see him doing well, and kind of trying to work through that and doing well in life is really great. And hey, I'll say this too, for as much criticism as fans gave him back then, the Ravens don't win the Super Bowl without Michael Oher. Oh, he was a huge piece of that.
Do not win the Super Bowl without him. Yeah. And so I think he did not get the appreciation that he deserved during his playing days back here either. And so I really hope he gets that appreciation here on Sunday with a loud ovation. Well, as he walks out of the building and walks through the lobby and looks at that second Lombardi trophy sitting in the lobby, he was a huge piece of that. We mentioned it, like that offensive line that season in 2012, shuffle things around, and that was the strength of the offense that went into the playoffs, allowed Joe Flacco to be at his best, and that was the catalyst, as you said, and he was a huge piece of the equation. So, he had a really good career. Yeah, and it's the even the name of the book and the movie, The Blindside, like set him up, and then he goes from left tackle to right tackle, and that naturally even put him in this position where he's like, well, I'm not fulfilling what I was supposed to fulfill, and so just all of that. But hey, he was a heck of a right tackle too. It didn't matter, and really important. Yeah, so again, thanks to him for joining us, and I know it's going to be a great moment for him, and he's going to get a loud ovation when he walks on the field at M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday. So, as always, you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. Thank you so much to Michael Oher for joining us today, and thank you for watching and for listening, and we'll be back with you again soon.